A double upload today. Usually don't do that, but when a guy like Zdeno Chara moves teams and I'm a Boston Bruins fan, gotta talk about it. You can check out that video if you haven't yet. You can see my raw emotions after the trade. I'm pretty gutted about it. Sucks to see Big Z go, but we move on to a new video talking about fantasy hockey again. Expect these videos quite frequently. If you like the fantasy hockey videos I've done, or if you haven't seen them, go check them out. If you like fantasy hockey though and you want the coverage to continue, hit the subscribe button. It shows the support, shows that I should keep doing this. If you like the video, hit the thumbs up button. It gets the video recommended to more people, which just grows the channel and benefits me, and I'd really appreciate that. We then jump into the first goalie on the list, and I do want to point out two things that you should know. One, this is not my top 10. This is the ADP top 10. So I'm going over the top 10 goalies drafted right now, where they're being drafted, and if I feel they should be drafted at that spot, if you should pass on them, if you should take them there, and all that. Also, not a categories guy. I am a scoring guy. I'm a points league guy. So do keep that in mind when I'm talking about these goalies. I value wins. I value guys who start a lot. I'm not a big fan of categories for the pure fact that, like, goals and hits as a category, they are both worth 1 point, and that is banana land to me. Anyway, let's get talking about the goalies here. We're talking about Andrei Vasilevskiy first, who is a surefire to go number one as a goaltender. And I don't mean number one like first overall. I'm talking just the first goalie off the board here. Vasilevskiy gets the starts, young goalie. The backup isn't going to cut into his work much. He's going to get a lot of wins, probably on the best team in that Central Division. Be surprised if they weren't, even without Nikita Kucherov. He's going at 7.5. I don't like to take goalies in the first round, but if I ever was to, it would be Andrei Vasilevskiy. And if you take him at the 7th or 8th or 6th or 10th pick, I'm not questioning you at all because you just got the best goalie in the league, in my opinion, and the best goalie by situation. We then go to maybe the best goalie in the league at number 2, and that is Connor Hellebuyck. Connor Hellebuyck got Hart Trophy consideration last year because the Winnipeg Jets were not that good, but he was fantastic. Now, I don't like picking goalies on not the best team, so I'm personally not drafting Connor Hellebuyck in the second round at 17.5. Prove me wrong. That's what I'm going to say here. I don't want to crap on this pick if you pick him, because I could definitely be wrong. I'm flipping my pages here. Sorry if you can hear that. I'm not picking a guy who's on a team that's probably the 5th best team in their division of a 7-team division where you are playing those other 4 teams the majority of your games. That's just me. If you're in a categories league, sure, but I don't like to pick a guy whose team lets up that many high-quality chances. Eventually, he's going to break some nights, and he's going to have some bad nights because of that. Now, if the Jets take a step forward, I'll change my opinion on Connor Hellebuyck, but I have to see it. I have to see it to pick Connor Hellebuyck this high. If Connor Hellebuck's going in the 3rd round, I'm taking him. He finished first last year in the points, but you're going 17.5. I'd rather go with an elite scorer that high than a goalie on a meh team, in my opinion. No offense to Winnipeg, that's just my thoughts. We then move on to Tuukka Rask. This is my own team. I don't think Tuukka Rask is the 3rd best goalie for fantasy. I think I know he's not, actually. The Bruins' defense got a little worse losing Krug and Chara, in my opinion. And I think Halak is going to cut into his starts like he always does, and even more so because of how condensed the schedule is. Tuukka Rask probably will finish in the top 10, but 3rd, probably not. I'd be pretty surprised. He's going in the 3rd round. That's too early for me. I would not take Tuukka Rask here. Finished 6 in goalies last year. I could see him finishing around that this year. Peak probably 5. I don't see him as a top 5 goalie, and I think he'd be a mistake to take in your top 5, and that's coming from a Bruins fan. We then move on to Robin Lehner, who I think is a borderline top 5 guy. I could see it. I could also see Fleury chopping into his starts a bit. I hope not for your sake if you draft Robin Lehner. But I still think Robin Lehner, with the starts he'll get on a very good Vegas team. Vegas is my pick to represent the West. Actually, I guess I should just say win their division. They're my pick to win their division. And I think Robin Lehner will be a big part of that. And I don't think Fleury should cut into the starts, but he might because he is a very respected guy. And he does play good some nights. But Fleury is pretty inconsistent as well. And but I think Lehner is a possible top 5 goalie, and I would not question you if you took him as the 4th goalie in your league. I think there's better options, but I also wouldn't question it. He's going at 34.5, around the same as Tuukka. I'd take him over Tuukka, but not the best option, but I wouldn't question it. We then go with Carter Hart at 5 here, and I think Carter Hart's probably going to finish around this spot, if I had to say. Philadelphia was a wagon at the end of last year. I expect that to continue. I expect them to finish top 2 in the East. I'm not sure who the second team would be, but they're probably the front runners to win the division, in my opinion. I think they're the best built team at the moment. I like Couturier, I like Drew, I like Voracek, I like Konechny, I like their defense, and I love Carter Hart, and I expect him to finish top 5. Only finished 19th last year, but as you can see, 40 starts. He went 24-13. If you improve his percentage of games started, compared to speaking to guys like Hellebuck, if he was starting that many games, he'd be a top 3 goalie, no doubt. And I expect him to get into that tier soon. He's a young goalie, so he won't need as much rest in this condensed schedule. Could end up being a top 3 goalie. Wouldn't shock me at all, and I think 5 is the perfect spot to take him at. 37.3, I think that's a good range for Carter Hart. I could see him being on my team. I could really see him being on my team. I could also see number 6 being on my team, Binnington, because I just have a lot of respect for the Blues organization with how well they run their team. Their decor is fantastic. Tarasenko being out's a little bit of a blow, but, they just signed Mike Hoffman, so there's some goals coming, and it's not going to be that expensive for them to get him either, or at least I don't believe. $4 million for a 30-goal scorer? Not bad at all. Blues are a well-built team. They should finish second behind Vegas in their division, in my opinion, but I could see them finishing first or third. Either way, Hellebuck. Binnington is going to get the majority of starts, so I think he's a great selection at number 6, and I think he's a possible top 5 goalie. Last year he finished 5th, so I see no reason to think he can't this year as well. Blues are maybe a little worse without Pietrangelo and with Tarasenko out, but they're still an elite team, and he should be finishing around the mark he's going at, 42.9. You cannot question this pick, in my opinion. A pick that a lot of people will question, though. Maybe some will be like, wow, you got a steal there, and others will be like, who? Is Igor Shesterkin. Now, personally, I would not go with Igor Shesterkin, but like with Hellebuck, prove me wrong. This is another situation I'm not the biggest fan of. They're in a division with Boston, who is still better than them, Washington, who is better than them, Philly, who's better than them, Pittsburgh, who's questionable, and you got New Jersey, who's, I think, going to take a small step forward, so not going to be an easy game. Buffalo, who I think is on the same level as the Rangers right now, in my opinion, with the signing of Taylor Hall. I'm not the biggest fan of this situation because I could see them on the outside of the playoffs looking in. That being said, you could hit a home run with him, but I think the risk is not worth it for a guy who's probably going to be the first goalie on your team unless you are a maniac and take 2 in the first 40 picks, which, some people do that and it pays off. But I personally think Shesterkin should go a little outside of the top 10 because of the upside, but also the risk is still there. The guy's only started 12 career games, and the Rangers aren't the best team in the world. He went 10-2 in his starts last year, so maybe I'm wrong here, but I just don't see the Rangers being a playoff team this year. Prove me wrong. Like I said, I'm not taking Shesterkin there. You can if you want. Prove me wrong. We then go with Ilya Samsonov. I think this guy's a possible top 5 goalie, a bang-on top 10 goalie. They're probably going to be a top 2 team in the East this year, either them or Philly, I think, with Boston, Pittsburgh, and the others following suit. I could be wrong about Boston. I could just be down on my boys a little too much. But I think Washington has a very good decor. I think Samsonov is one of the better talents as a young goalie in the league. Even if the Washington Capitals finish 4th or 3rd in their division, I expect Samsonov to start a majority of the games, considering that they don't really have a backup keeper who's that great right now. They have Craig Anderson on a tryout right now, essentially. I think he might sign as a backup. I think that'd be a good signing. But he's older, and I expect Samsonov to get a majority of the starts here. Should be a top 10 goalie. Might be a top 5 goalie. We then go to Carey Price, who I think is a definite top 5 goalie, and going 9th at 50.6. This is a steal. Definitely take him in the 4th round if he is still available at your selection. Maybe in the 3rd, too, if you're feeling pretty high on him like I am. He's going at 50.6. He was the 3rd ranked goalie last year in fantasy for the points league, and I see no reason to think he can't finish that high again and maybe even take that number 1 spot. They might have the best team in the Canadian division. I pegged them at number 2 behind Toronto personally, but they've gotten better. They're in a weaker division, and Carey Price is a top 5 goalie in the league when healthy, talent-wise that is. So I see no reason he can't finish in the top 5 this year as well. Carey Price is a steal as the 9th goalie at the board. If you're in an 8-team league or even a 10-team league, and you get him as your second goalie, you're looking pretty good at that position. We then move on to, I just mentioned, top team in the Canadian division, in my opinion. I think being in the Bruins and the Lightning's division the last few years has done bad things to the Leafs' confidence. I think this division is big for their confidence. There is no boogeyman in this division. There is not a single team in this division that Toronto should go up against and be like, man, we're not as good as them. They should have all the confidence in the world this year, and with that confidence, I think this young core will thrive. Signing a TJ Brody should help solidify that defense. A healthy Jake Muzzin, good Morgan Rielly. That's not bad top 4 now that we're talking about it. Maybe a young guy like Sandin or that Russian guy they signed out of the KHL steps up and is a top 4 defenseman. We're talking about a team that could take a big step forward after a lot of people are pretty low on them. They're my pick to win the Canadian division. Freddie Anderson finished 4th last year. I see no reason he can't be a top 5 goalie in points leagues this year. I'd be surprised if he didn't finish there unless he gets injured. The backup situation is not the best there. They got Aaron Dell, so maybe he'll be solid like he was for San Jose last year. But Frederik Andersen should be a top 5 keeper this year, and I think if you get him at 10, you are as a 10th goalie off the board, you are doing pretty well for yourself in your league, just like Carey Price. Those are the 2 value picks. I think you could even make a good case for taking Carey Price in the 4th round and then going Freddie in the 5th, and then you're good on goalies, and then you take a later guy, like maybe you're high on another Canadian goalie. I wouldn't want 3 goalies in the same division. I was going to say Jacob Markstrom, but I don't think I want 3 goalies in the same division because then they'd be playing each other a lot. But those are my thoughts on the top 10 goalies. Now I'm gonna put this out there. I can be wrong. I'm definitely wrong about some of these guys. I'm definitely right about some of them too, though. That's the beauty about Fantasy Hockey Talk, is it's all opinionated, and I really like it if you share your opinions with me in the comments. I like good Fantasy Hockey Talk. I'm definitely wrong about some of this stuff, but I'm definitely right about some of this stuff too, I think. And I'd like to know your thoughts in the comment section below, so please post a comment with your thoughts on the top 10 goalies. As always, if you like the video, hit that thumbs up button. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button for more fantasy hockey coverage going forward. I'm Pat. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.